Hello students, hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to begin with the second lesson of Civics, and we have already completed the first lesson and I hope you all have studied it properly. Fine. So the second lesson of Civics is Federalism. Today in this particular video we are going to cover these topics from this lesson. First is meaning of federalism, then unitary system and federal system, then features of federalism, and the last one is two methods of federations. So, first we need to understand the meaning of federalism. Before we understand the meaning of federalism, let's get connected with the previous lesson. In the previous lesson, we have already studied about the two countries. One was Belgium and the other was Sri Lanka. Fine. In Belgium, people used to have federalism. That means the governing system over there was what? Federalism. And in Sri Lanka, there was unitary system. That means in Belgium, there was a central government as well as there was the government at different provinces, that is the states, which was not there in Sri Lanka. Fine. That means in Sri Lanka there was only the government at the central which used to govern the complete country. Even if there were some governments at local levels, they were not given the powers. Fine. So this was the condition in Belgium and Sri Lanka. Now what does this federalism means? As we have studied in the previous lesson that there are different forms of power sharing. In that, one of the forms of power sharing was vertical form of power sharing, right? You must remember that. So, what was the vertical form of power sharing? The power sharing which we used to follow at different levels of government. That means there was the power given to the central government as well as to the provinces or states. So this form of power sharing is known as federalism. Fine. In most of the cases, in federalism there are two governments, that is one at the central, that means which works for the whole nation or for the whole interest of the nation, complete interest of the nation. That means all the issues which are related to the national interest is concerned with the central government. Fine. And those government which works only for the particular states, those are the government at the provinces. Fine. And both these government work independently and they have their own powers. So this is what federalism means. Now the next topic is unitary system and federal system. So unitary system is very much different from the federal system. In unitary system, what happens? There is only a single government, or in case there are governments at provinces also, then they will not have the equal powers as compared to the central government. Fine. That means there will be the complete power of the central government in the country, and all the provinces or the states which will even have some of the powers will be under the central government, and this form is known as unitary system. Fine. So the unitary system is very much contrasted to the federal system, where the states also have the equal powers and these powers are mostly given by the constitution. Fine. So this was about the unitary system and federal system. Now the next topic is features of federalism. So there are various features which you need to understand. When you will understand these features, then you will be able to understand what does the federalism actually mean. Fine. So the first and the foremost features which we are discussing till now is that in federalism there are two-tier system. That means there are two governments at different levels, one at the central and the other at the states. Fine. Next is both these governments have their own jurisdiction. Now what does this jurisdiction means? Area of work. So both the governments, that means the central government, have their own jurisdiction, own area of work, and the state governments have their own area of work. And next is, these area of work or these jurisdictions have been decided by whom? By the Constitution. No other person can decide the area of work of these governments, but the Constitution has already decided where and what powers are given to these particular governments. Fine. Now, next is that both the governments have their own way of governing the places, and although they govern the same citizens at the same time, but they have their independent powers. That means no one is going to interfere in each other's work. Fine. Next is that if there is needed that there should be brought some constitutional changes in the provisions of the Constitution, then in that case, to bring any changes in the constitutional provisions, both the governments, that means the central government and the state governments, have to agree no matter what the issues may be. Fine. That means not alone central government, neither the central government alone could do these changes or bring these changes, nor the state governments could alone bring these changes. So that means both the government have their own importance. Fine. Next is that these governments, if there are some issues or some sort of disputes in these governments, then who is the judge? The Supreme Court. That means the Supreme Court takes the judgment in case of any disputes of the central government and the state government. Next characteristic is that both these governments get their financial help from different ways. That means they do not need to depend on each other for their financial support. That is to say that if the state government has to work for something, then they have their own financial supports from the state taxes or from the states only, and if the central government needs to work for something, then they have their own sources. Fine. That means both are working independently. And last but not the least, federalism is used to promote two main motives. Those two motives are, first is the unity and the second is the diversity. Fine. Now, how the federalism promotes unity as well as the diversity? Because we are working together with the help of the central government, and on the same time we are also giving chance and we are also working with the help of the state government. That means both the governments have their own powers, and that is why these two governments are promoting unity as well as the diversities. Because if the central government is working on some issues, then that means that central government is working for the whole nation as a whole. That means we are working unitedly. And then if the state government is working, then that means state government must be working with the regional issues, and those regional issues will be concerned with the diversities. That means the differences which we are having in different states, the different problems, all these differences are concerned by the state government. Fine. So the federalism promotes two motives. One is the unity and the other is the diversity. Fine. So these are the features of federalism, and you need to learn these features by heart. Fine. Now, the last topic is two methods of federation. Now, there are two methods, two ways of federations which the different countries used to follow. Right. In India, we have different way of federation, and in USA, there is a different way of federation. Now, you must be knowing what is the full form of USA? United States of America. Fine. Now, United States of America means in America, there were different states, and all those states came together to form a single country. Fine. That is why if you see the flag of America, you will see different stars, many stars over there, and as many as stars are there in the flag, those many states are there in America. Fine. So that means to say that in America there are the different states which came together to form one country, and that is why over there federalism is followed in such a way that states are given much more importance as compared to the central government. That means over there coming together of federation is followed. Fine. Coming together federation is followed. That means all these states came together and they formed a country, and with the help of those states the whole country governs. Fine. That is why the central government has comparatively lesser powers as compared to the state governments in USA. Fine. And there are many more countries which used to follow this method of federation. Fine. And the second method which we used to follow in India is, and Belgium also has followed the same method, is the method of holding together federation. Now what does this mean? We are united as a single nation, right? And the states in a country were divided for our use. That means for our benefits, for our purpose, for the helpfulness of the governing system, we have divided the country into different states or different provinces, right? We were not the different states, and then we came together like USA. We were a single country, and then as a single country we used to govern from the earlier times only. Fine. So over here the central government has more powers as compared to the state government. If there are some sort of disputes which could not be concluded, then in that case their central government powers leads, and that over there the decision of the central government is followed. Fine. So this is the reason we follow the holding together of federation. That means we give more powers, little bit of more powers to the central government as compared to the state government. Fine. So these are the two ways, two methods which are followed in different countries to follow federalism. Fine. Now you will revise this part of the lesson. In the next video we will meet again and continue the lesson. Thank you.